Okay, so I had a crazy idea a few minutes ago. I thought, since this is supposed to be kind of a machinist type channel, maybe I would actually do something that's, well, semi-machinist related for a change. Instead of all the other odds and ends things that I've been doing. So I'm going to get you guys off of the tripod here in a couple minutes, but I want to kind of give you a little preface first. In the process of doing the axles for the trailer build, I was using this this steel that had these threads on the end of it. As I was cutting off the threads, I happened to notice a lot of rigidity, several points of rigidities problems on this Logan lathe. One was here that I noticed. One was here, and I can't remember if the other point was here or if it was here. It must have been here because the way this is set up, I don't see how I could have seen it here, but at any rate, I wound up noticing a couple of issues right off the bat in this, and I think I may actually have my spindle bearings loose also. The only reason I'm even suspecting that is because these bearings don't seem to feel as rigid as the bearings on my other Logan lathe head that I tightened up a year and a half ago or whatever it was. And the ability to actually push the chuck back and forth or up and down with a piece of material extended in it. But that's another issue for another day. Right now I just want to take you through this and show you on camera what it is I'm looking at and kind of discuss it a little bit. But I'm also going to turn you around here and I'm going to show you, I kind of did a little test drive ever so briefly, similar cut on the Hindi, just trying to, get a baseline idea of what this is not supposed to do, or what this is, how it is supposed to operate. Now, I've got the gibs on this machine snugged up pretty aggressively, plus it has significantly more weight, with the consideration of the heft of the larger apron on this, the larger saddle, etc., etc. So I don't know how it is as far as what's holding it down to the bed on this lathe, but I do know for sure that it's got drastically more weight in the saddle and carriage than this little baby lathe does in comparison. Now I'm not going to take you through or show you it in operation on this one because just not that familiar with the lathe and trying to talk and video and whatnot, I'm just as likely to crash this machine as anything. So, at any rate, it does not appear to be having the rigidity issue that the Logan is. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fire this back up. I believe I currently have 20 thousandths depth of cut dialed in on this, and I'm going to show you where I'm at here. So yeah, that one shows up real well. I don't know if that one's going to show up or not. Maybe it doesn't have enough oil on it. to really indicate it, but yep, there it is. Don't know that it's showing up on the video, but there, I think it is. At any rate, I'm not sure where the third issue was. I can't recall exactly where the third issue was, but I think it was right there. So, at any rate, I'm going to put you back up here on the tripod again. So, needless to say, this is something that I need to address at some point in the future. I imagine that's probably causing some of my chatter related issues. It's probably partially related or partially causing problems with not being able to turn smaller diameters very effectively. I imagine it also has a part to play in not being able to part very well, or more like at all. So I'm assuming I'm probably going to have to at some point break this down. What I suspect I have is I probably have a high spot that has gotten worked into this thing from being, tightened up over the years. Or at least with regards to this part of it. One of the issues I've had because of the way the auto feed is on this thing, when I engage the auto feed, it has a tendency to torque the entire saddle and carriage one way or the other pretty badly. Now, I don't know if I can even tighten up the gibs of this thing, or maybe that's not the correct term for what it is on the saddle, but I don't know if I can tighten it up enough to remove that torquing action and still have it be able to move. Now, I'll kind of show you why this is set up, or why that's a problem in the first place. So, the average lathe out there has this gear rack underneath, and the auto feed is done through, one of the two shafts here via gearing in the apron, right? Well, for whatever reason, this lathe originally came to me with no apron, and this electric, oh god damn it, what do you call these things? Anyways, an electric actuator, a linear actuator, that's what it is. So it's pretty much infinitely adjustable, but the geometry of it is not really conducive to trying to keep this thing running square. Now, as I understand it, this thing was used to machine plastics of some sort, so I would assume that the loading on the machine, the physical loads that it was seeing were not terribly high. Now that it's being used as an actual metal lathe, well, it's another story. So while I really enjoy having the fine-tunable electric feed like that, as opposed to having to screw around with all of that to decide how I want to decide the feed rate on the machine. So eventually, one of the things I've got to do is I've got to get away from the linear actuator, but I don't want to have my auto feed coming through the gearbox. I've gotten very, very spoiled on being able to just rotate that dial and get the feed that I want. So what I've contemplated doing, and now this is something that's way, way far in the future, considering all the other projects I've got, but what I've seriously considered doing for two reasons is putting a DC motor, mounted underneath here someplace and driving the internals of the apron to get my auto feed or power feed. I guess that's what I should be saying. One reason is for using the electric motor is so that I can obviously get that infinite adjustability on the fly. Another reason is I've got so much terrible wear on the apron components, one of which is a very peculiar worm gear with an internal key that's built into it, out of bronze, I couldn't say for sure, but that particular part is severely worn. And well, yes, I can probably reproduce it now. It would be an incredibly time-consuming part to reproduce. And yes, of course, you can buy them online or on the internet. I've seen them on eBay for, I don't know, crazy money. But, I mean, I understand why they're crazy money, because they take so doggone long to machine. So anyways, by going with an electric motor on the thing, that should theoretically give me a solution, a quicker, easier solution as well. So at any rate, I'm starting to get a little bit more serious about the Logan lathe. And one of the other things that's going to be more serious, since this thing's pretty well trapped in here with the Hindi, I can't really roll it out anyways. So I'm also starting to think it's about time to get it off of the wheels that I've put it on. And actually get it mounted like a proper lathe is supposed to be. And start trying to get the bed of it leveled. So anyways, it's just going to be several nitpicking things to tune this thing up. And like I said, none of this is going to be in the near term because I've got way too many things going. But if I might get through spindle bearings, dealing with the rigidity problems in the compound cross slide and saddle, get the thing mounted properly and off of its wheels, I think I'll start to make this machine a little bit, maybe a lot nicer to work with and capable of producing better quality parts. So anyways, just a few thoughts, more like rambling, but at any rate, I think I pretty well got the point across of what I was trying to make. So I think with that, I will let you guys go for the night. It's time to go start watching movies for the evening.